Hello guys, how are you doing today? It is Erica Judge Edwards, the mother of Carl Emery Edwards, and I was just coming on, really quickly just to have an informal conversation with you guys just concerning a current event that occurred surrounding, autism awareness, autism acceptance, and the lack thereof. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start by playing a video for you guys, and then I'll give you a little bit of the backstory, and then I will give you guys my thoughts, okay? Now, I wasn't, at this event. I don't have any firsthand knowledge. This video is simply based on what I'm seeing on social media and my thoughts on social media. This is, going to be a very informal video. I'm not really tech savvy, so I don't know how to input, video inside my video, but I do have two phones here, and so you'll see me navigating my other phone, just to kind of quickly give you guys my thoughts. So the first thing I will do, I'm just going to start by letting you guys listen to this video. So this video was posted by Mom Donna, Donna bar BARR dash Lemoine, LEMOINE. And so as you can see, that is the name. So, if you wanted to see this post for yourself, you can definitely go on Facebook and do so. But here's the video.
This is my event. Ain't nobody running me today. You can take your child, your child, and put them in a regular seat. I have no problem with him being at the table, but can you please just put him in a regular seat so that he won't be with the smaller kids? That's all I'm asking.
Okay, we will.
Thank you. I would never discriminate against nobody.
Yeah, come
it's
on.
white, black, purple over here.
Come,
ADHD, everything over
come
here.
sit down.
That's all I'm asking. Thank you. I don't want no problem today. I work hard.
Okay. I'm posting on Facebook too.
Put it on Facebook, anywhere else. I don't care. I don't care today. You know what? How about this? Can y'all leave? Can y'all leave? I work hard.
All right,
I work too hard.
Let's go. Come on, Chris. Let's go. I will. Yeah. Let's go. No, we'll go. Bye.
Y'all can stay.
No, I know y'all understand.
Yeah, but come on.
It's not y'all. No. Okay.
Come on.
Thank you.
No, come on. You just stay.
I know.
Don't make
Thank
no.
you.
Come on, sit.
I'm not making. She made the scene, okay? I didn't say anything.
Come here. God bless you.
Really. Okay, let's go. Thank you. That's okay. Thank you.
Come here, Diable.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. All right.
Time as we take a look back at.
Okay, guys. So, from what I'm seeing on social media, the backstory is that autism parents took their 16-year-old autistic son to an event. Now he's 16 years old, but he does still believe in Santa Claus, and from what I saw online, his mental age is not 16 years old. I saw reports of his mental age being 9, but, that is something that, you would really have to confirm by going to the original post and viewing his mom's information. So the reports I saw was that, and of course you will have to confirm this, that, he's a 16-year-old autistic boy who is nonverbal and has a mental age of 9 and some intellectual disabilities. He still believes in Santa Claus. And so his mother and father took him to an event. Excuse me, guys. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, but they took him to an event where he was to meet Santa. So he went to the event with two of his cousins who were younger than him, 2 years old and 6 years old. And when they got to the event, his cousins, sat in an area where the children were to sit. He wanted to sit with them. So he was sitting in this area and ultimately asked to move. And so at this point, it was explained that, he was autistic, and, it's not really clear, what happened between then and the video. But what's being said is that, somewhere between him being asked to move and, the parents trying to explain that he was autistic, that, accommodations were not made. The host, of the event, and the event was not inclusive, and they were ultimately asked to leave the event. So, from my standpoint, as an autism mom and an autism advocate, I 100% stand with the family. From what I saw on the video, based on, excuse me, the host and the manner in which she spoke to the family, in the presence of everybody, with the microphone in her hand, and not, privately, it didn't really appear, that there was any, understanding, that there was, any effort, to attempt to accommodate. And honestly, I felt that the manner in which the family was, spoken to in the presence of everybody, I did not think that was appropriate at all. I'll be honest with you guys. When I saw the video, it brought me to tears. I actually, cried. And of course, people are saying, well, we don't know what happened, and she could have been provoked, and well, why didn't they just move? Well, the question becomes, why did they need to move? If, the 16-year-old child, because he is a child, if he was sitting and, he wasn't disruptive, and he wasn't, being, violent or aggressive, and, there was no harm, or, no one else was in danger, he didn't pose a danger to anyone, then, why did they need to move? And, honestly, as an autism mom, if I were in that situation, I would have pushed back as well. I would have called out, the behavior as being discriminatory as well. I would have advocated for my child as well. So I don't necessarily think that the mom, provoked this, lady to speak to her in this manner. I think that the mom, advocated, potentially tried to explain, potentially, tried to, advocate, educate, but there weren't necessarily, open arms or open ears or understanding. And, a lot of people just really, do not, have a lot of understanding, for, autistics. And if you think the video, is alarming, the comment section, is worse, because, there are these people that they have this fear. Well, he shouldn't have been sitting by small children, as if the small children, were in danger of being, physically harmed. And so, from what I saw, there was, he wasn't being disruptive in any way. He wasn't being violent in any way. So why do people automatically jump to the fact that he would have harmed one of these kids? The fact that people are, jumping to that conclusion, those ideas are, rooted in, bias, and they are indeed discriminatory, because what that tells me is that people making those comments, they believe that autistic people are violent. They believe that, autistic people are disruptive. People are really assuming that there was, something that this family or this boy did, that caused this. And so my question is, why do, so many people think that him sitting at this table would put small children in danger? He's under the direct supervision of his caregivers. He's not being disruptive. He's, not being aggressive. And we don't even know if those are features of his autism because it's a spectrum and, everybody's different. But, a lot of times the parents know the triggers. They know the signs of overstimulation. They know the signs of a potential meltdown. A lot of times there are emotional regulation tools. There are, a lot of times we'll carry, sensory packets with us, headphones or remote shoes, weighted, lap sacks. Like there are things, we know our children and there are tools at our disposal to make sure that our children are comfortable and not overstimulated. And we're really well versed on when to take them to a quiet area should they need to calm down. See, my viewpoint, isn't that autistic people are violent. My viewpoint is that, sometimes, autistic people can, become overstimulated, or sometimes their needs aren't being met in some way. And sometimes they need accommodations. And then sometimes even with, all of the accommodations in place, there might still be a meltdown, but, we're there to accommodate. We're there to assist. We're there to get that child out of harm's way. We're there to get, other, people's children and other individuals, out of harm's way. So yes, those things, can sometimes happen, but I don't think that it should be automatically assumed, that those things are going to happen or that anyone was in danger because this boy, was at this event hoping to, see Santa Claus. I really think that this could have been handled better. It could have been, a dialogue in private, I think there's a way to do, everything, instead of saying, move or go over there, you can say, well, hello, Chris, how are you doing? I see that you would like to sit here with your cousins. I think that these chairs are a little too small for you. You're probably not comfortable. So here you go. Here's a chair. See, as a good host, if you didn't have a problem with him sitting in that area and you just thought that maybe he needed a chair that would be more fitting for him, you could have just brought him a chair, honestly. You really, really, really could have. But, to ultimately, kick them out, I just think that was completely uncalled for. If you're going to host a children's event, it needs to be inclusive. It needs to be something that is accommodating to all children. I would recommend that you consider educating yourself on sensory packets and providing some, making sure that maybe there is a quiet area, making sure that there is, an area with the lower light level. And if the event is for, smaller children or children of a specific age range, then simply say that, because what's important to note is that this 16-year-old is still a child. He is a child. He's not an adult. He has childlike tendencies. And he honestly was not bothering anyone. I'm not really sure, how this escalated to this point, but we really, 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 need to do better in terms of how we treat children, specifically, children who are more vulnerable to abuse, more vulnerable to being bullied, more vulnerable to being discriminated against. Because, this is a family, they're going to this event, you really don't know them. All you know is that this young man is sitting in this chair, and then at some point it's brought up that he's autistic. So at that point it's like, oh, well, he shouldn't be sitting around, small children. It was almost as if people were saying, oh, the big autistic boy is gonna, harm all of the little children. And I just don't like, that thought process. And I don't like, the assumptions that are being made, because like I said, those are rooted in bias. All of our children are different. We can all, advocate for our children and say what their, specific features are. So my daughter is 2 years old. She is autistic. She's level 3. She is a sweetheart. She is a beautiful, gentle, kind little girl. There's no aggression. I've never gotten a report of her hitting anyone at daycare. I've never gotten a report of her, biting anyone. There's no self-harm. There's no harm to others. She smiles. She's happy. She's joyful. She's super smart. And if I could pick any kid in the world, I would choose her. She is a beautiful, 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 beautiful little girl. Now, the one thing I will say is that my daughter does have some, delays in her development. So because of that, for a long time, she was in a classroom with smaller children. And the other thing is that my daughter's tall. She's like over 97th percentile for height at one point. So she's in the class with younger children and she's like towering over them, right? And so one of my biggest concerns was, are the parents going to be concerned? Are they going to say something? And they might have expressed concerns, but it never came back. To me, the one thing I will say is that all of the families at her school always nice to her, always spoke to her, always spoke to me. Anytime something happens and, stuff is being passed out, they're giving her goodie bags, party favors, Valentine's with everyone else. So, we're lucky that, everyone does appear to be inclusive, but that was a concern of mine, that parents would complain that she hadn't been moved up to the next class, given her size and, given the fact that she is autistic. And so, I understand, where this family and where this mother is coming from. One of the things that I want to do, I do want to read a couple of the comments, because I think that they just speak to how, our children can be treated. So one of the comments says, she is not in the wrong. It's her event. If you can't control your grown beep child, then don't take him out in public. Autism is not an excuse not to follow the rules. Everyone else around follows. Hate me if you want, but I'm tired of people with autistic kids let their kids do whatever they want and say, well, he's autistic as an excuse. There's no excuse. Put a effing leash on your child if you cannot control them, or simply don't go out in public. How is making her son follow the rules everyone else follows discrimination? Well, number one, what is being asked for is an accommodation at a public event. And that's different from breaking the rules. And number two, it's discriminatory because he was asked to move, based on his, based on who he is. It wasn't something that he was doing. He wasn't being disruptive. He wasn't, being abusive or violent in any way. It's because, he was asked to move. And then, when it was said that he was autistic, it was almost this fear as if he was gonna, do something to small children. So that is the part of it that makes it discriminatory. Now, another comment says, oh, boo-hoo. Keep your little mongoloids home. Then F out of here, ruining the fun for everyone just because you don't know how to control your little gremlin. So that lady and everyone else there has to suffer and do extra work just because you couldn't stop drinking, smoking when you were pregnant. F out of here. So again, the young boy, just sitting there with his cousins, enjoying the event, not disruptive in any way, not doing anything wrong, but yet and still, these are the types of comments. And honestly, these were just two of the worst ones. If you go to this original post, there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of comments that are very problematic. And it just shows that people really, don't have a clear understanding of autistic individuals. Now, the one thing I will say is this. All of our children are beautiful. All of our children, deserve love and support. So, with that being said, no matter what the child's, features are, whether they're, verbal, whether they're, nonverbal, whether they have intellectual disabilities, whether they don't, whether, there's some aggression, whether there, isn't, whether, some stem more than others, they all deserve the proper accommodations. They all deserve to be children. They all deserve to be respected as individuals. We should always presume competence. And, when situations arise, yes, let's address them to keep everyone safe. But, let's not assume, a bunch of negative things about, our children. So, I just want to show these pictures. So this is me when I was pregnant with my daughter, who is now 2 years old. This is my daughter when she was a newborn. Isn't she super, super, super cute? And then I have one more, which is her when she was 1 year old. And so I will see if I can put a picture up of how she looks now. But I just wanted to show you guys those pictures to just show you, I was happy about, bringing life into this world just like everyone else. I love my daughter just like everyone else. I have hopes and dreams for her just like everyone else. And I want her to be treated, fairly and with respect, just like everyone else. And, we really, 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 really have to do better. This situation was ridiculous. I am not in agreement with what the host of this event did at all. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted about a lot of the comments. And I really just, want us to do better. And I just want us to, treat all of our kids with respect. If anyone, wants to try to get together and do, inclusive events, regionally covering the whole, the whole nation so that, there are events where autistic children can be comfortable, definitely get in touch with me. I'm happy to help, organize something like that in my region. And hopefully, we can do it all over and, invite all kids, So thank you guys. You can follow us on Instagram, Carl, CARLE_Emery, EMERY. And then on TikTok, we are Carl, CARLE, Emery, EMERY. And then on Facebook and YouTube, Carl, CARLE, Emery's, EMERY''S World, WORLD. Have a nice night.